It's showtime.
Breaking news from the BS and Beer News Desk.
That's right, the Beer Chaser. We're here, win or lose. It does not matter. I am your host, Dale. Today I am joined by Tomas. What's going on?
What's going on, brother?
Oh, appreciate you joining us. The Saints fall to the Packers 18-17. This was a tough one to swallow, bro.
Yes, sir. Certainly was.
Yeah, the first half, I'm pretty confident, because we were holding the ball. We were doing our thing. We stopped them. They couldn't do anything offensively. And then next thing you know, our quarterback goes down. Oh, my God. And
that made a big difference.
Yeah, the game changes after that.
Yes. Well, it's like I say, like I've been saying to people, when Carr is in there, the team has a certain vibe to it.
Yep.
I know a lot of people think, well, he holds the ball too long. I don't think so. I think what it is that he's calm. And so he checks, one's not there, two's not there. Okay, I'm going to dump it down over here. And we keep moving. Okay. Now, the offensive line, is an issue for us. But once Carr got hurt, that whole vibe changed. As I texted to you guys, Jameis might be a very nice fella. That I don't doubt. But he has a different energy when he comes in, and it's more chaotic than calm. And so suddenly we had no running game. Suddenly we had no check down. All he's looking for is the ball down the field. Well, okay, but then that means 1, 2, 3, you're out. And then suddenly you give the other team an opportunity. So to me, I think the game really centered around the fact that Carr got hurt, Winston comes in, and it's just a different vibe to the whole team.
Yeah, for sure. Still, all right, you put up 17 points in the first half. Second half, you could muster no points at all. Not even 3.
Because the offensive philosophy is different. I mean, that's the whole thing. In the first half, Tony Jones Jr. running the ball, Miller running the ball. Okay, we have a different variety of plays. Then of course we have Shaheed, who runs back this
punt return.
And it's just like, wow, now the team is really fired up. Okay, let's do it. Let's drive the ball. Let's take our time. Let's eat the clock and score points. Eat the clock, score points. Right. Now we're not going to score 70 like Miami, but we should have easily won this game by 14 to 20 points, easily. But like I said, and you saw this last year, Dale.
Okay.
The offensive philosophy when Jameis is in there is just different. I don't know if it's because Carmichael just has a different connection, let's say, with Carr. They're more on the same page of what the offense should do than with Jameis. But it just, the play calling was different, and what Jameis does is different. They're different people. So you can't have the same offensive philosophy when you have two quarterbacks that don't play the game the same way.
Yeah.
So, you can't have a guy who's got lead feet, playing quarterback, and they have a guy who's got, the wings of Nike on his feet, I mean, that's not what we have, but I'm just trying to say that, they're so different in how they play. Also, I mean, in my opinion, if you watch some of this game in the second half, the angle of the ball when Jameis throws it is different than what Carr throws it, right? Okay. If you hear the interviews with Carr, they keep asking, you throw a soft ball, you throw a catchable ball. Yeah, because it's different, right? And Jameis doesn't throw with the same touch, let's say.
Yeah.
Carr throws it with velocity when he needs to, but most of the time, he's laying it in there, whereas Jameis doesn't do that. Okay. And it's nothing, I'm not saying that one is better or one is worse. I'm just saying they're different.
For sure.
For
sure. Yeah. So let's go through the game here. First drive, I've gotten my notes that Derek Carr was sacked. Looks like it was McCoy that gave up the pressure, but still, this is a theme for the season: problems with the offensive line, and there's too many resources devoted to the offensive line for us to be getting this kind of return.
I agree.
For this season.
No, I agree. I think, I'm fine with McCoy. I think that he's a good center, solid, and so I don't have a problem with him. But the rest of the offensive line, come on, I know there are a lot of people who think Penning is a bust. I disagree. I think, look, the guy didn't play the whole last year. This is still basically like his first year of playing. He's got a lot to learn. As our good friend Craig said, it's about his feet. He doesn't really put his feet in the right place yet. Mm-hmm. And I use the word yet. I think it will come in time. And actually, I will tell you, I don't know what you think. You tell me. It seemed to me that when Pete was in there playing left guard, I thought the play was better on the left side when Pete was in there than when Hurst was there. When Hurst swapped over to the right guard, I thought Pete played better than I thought he was going to play at the left guard. What do you think?
I did like the left side a little bit better, but the right side became a problem then. I think we've been kind of lying to ourselves about the offensive line as a whole.
Yes,
but definitely with the backup playing in for Pete.
Yeah, well, look, I think Pete is good at certain things.
Yeah,
and then at other things, when he gets beat bad. So
right.
I mean, you can't have that much, change between everything. You got the little molehills have to be molehills, not big giant mountains.
Yeah.
And I think that I'm actually kind of surprised. I don't know if you look in your notes, how many times did Ramczyk really get beat by his man? Because that fellow,
I saw one time he did for sure in this game, but the previous games, he's always been the guy that stood out on the offensive line and not the problem.
Yes. So. But I thought in today's game, I didn't think he was as good as he's been in the last two games.
Yeah.
So that was something. Now, I did like the fact that they started to play Young in the jumbo package. I think that he needs experience. He needs to get in there and play, because he's a big guy. And I know he's a UK guy, so, that's one of my alma maters. And so I've seen him play here, and he was good. But, it's a big difference between college play and pro play.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So
I did like Pete Carmichael giving Pete some help on that left side by putting in Landon Young, like you mentioned. But he was in for pass blocking. So you had 6 offensive linemen pass blocking on a lot of different plays there, and I thought that was innovative. We did see Landon Young get beat around the end one time. I don't think you should get beat around the end when there's 6 blocking, but it happened. Still, I think we just been lying to ourselves about Hurst. He's a mediocre guy, and maybe somebody who's better suited to be a backup coming in and filling in at different spots. And maybe that's just all he needs to be instead of a starter.
Well, I agree with that. I agree with that comment. I don't know what Craig would say, but to me, I don't see Hurst. If Hurst is starting, then we already have a problem because I don't see him as a starter.
Right.
I see him as a solid backup, a guy who can play left and right, who's got experience playing guard and tackle. So that's a great player to have on your bench, but I don't see him as a starter. And I think that's a problem, especially because Penning is new at the game. So to me, you really need somebody at the left guard who can tutor him, who can tell him, hey, this is coming, that's coming. Let me chip for you. Let me show you how to do this or that. Right. And I just don't see that happening. And Penning needs to develop. You need somebody to help him because the guy's got a world of potential,
Yeah, when you brought that up, it made me think of the relationship between Jari Evans and Zach Strief. How they used to kind of just say one word and they know what each other was kind of thinking. So
exactly,
we definitely need that.
Yeah, and I don't see that. See, you're correct, but I just don't see that. Mm-hmm. And then I would bring this question up to people. I mean, just me. Does this reflect on our offensive line coach? I mean, we keep waiting. Yeah, he was there last year. Now Strief left to go to Denver. Right. Was getting killed. Oh, too bad. And then, and so he's still there.
Yeah.
But does it reflect on our offensive line coach? Because to me, I think this is it. If he doesn't straighten it out this year, I think DA's got to say, brother, we appreciate what you've done, but time to hit the road. We need a better offensive line coach.
That's a good point. That's a good point. But offensive line play is needed like everywhere in the NFL. I think all 32 teams can say, hey, we need better offensive line play or something.
No. Well, I don't know, Dale. Based on today's game, I believe that Green Bay must have the most outstanding offensive line in the NFL. Because you have your notes, right? I can't think of one blessed time that they were called for holding. Yeah. And all I saw was that, okay, they have Cam's jersey in his hand. Well, no call there. Brise, our big, rookie who looks fantastic. How many times he's pulled to the ground? It's like, wait a second. How can you not call anything? Yeah. Love's sitting back there for 15 minutes. You're not going to tell me that somebody doesn't have somebody on the ground, So apparently Green Bay has the offensive line of the entire NFL.
Yeah. Maybe you're right about that.
Just saying, Although there were times for our offensive line, you can't. I don't want to paint them all bad with a big wide brush, because in the first half, Tony Jones was hitting some holes. Mm-hmm. The young rookie Miller, he looked good a lot of times hitting holes as well. We're not talking about a big giant hole, but enough that they could see the crack and go for it. So I have to give them that looked okay, but. Man, no quarterback can survive the beating that Carr took. I don't care who you are back there.
Yeah, well, I've been saying that since the beginning of the season. He's taking 4 sacks every game, and hit numerous times. I'm like, you can't keep surviving all of this, and eventually it's going to come due, and it happened. So let's go back though. Earlier in the first quarter, we had our first touchdown of the day scored by Jimmy Graham. It was in the red zone on a slant.
Yeah, finally.
What did you think about that? Like, Carr has been struggling in the red zone.
Yeah, I said finally, because I've been waiting to see what they were going to do, because you remember that Dennis Allen said, well, we have an idea, we have, plans. And I'm like, where are they? So finally, he caught a good pass, and he fought for the ball. That was good. Mm-hmm. So, that's the kind of play I want to see in the red zone. And see, so you had Jimmy Graham come alive there, but today, where was Johnson today? Did you notice?
Yeah. He maybe caught 2 balls. I remember Jameis throwing him a couple balls. That's about it.
Yeah. Our tight end play, I would say that what I see on the offense in the first half, when I saw on the offense, and I kept looking for it, was, boy, we don't have a lot of calls for the tight end.
Yeah. Well, you bring that up. We talked about the 6-man line. That's taking a tight end off the field.
Yes.
And when you have just your wideouts and those guys, like, if there is no actual big target on the field, I saw a couple times in the red zone, we went 6 offensive linemen, and we maybe had a guy like Shaheed out there. I'd like to see him come off the field. Let's put Jimmy Graham in, or let's put in Juwan Johnson, some bigger target. Out there in the red zone. That's what I'd like to see.
Yeah.
Split them out wide.
Yeah. I agree with you. Or Kirkwood, who they have, who's a big target.
Yes.
Where Shaheed is just a small fellow with blazing speed.
Right.
But now that's not Carr's issue. That would go back to Carmichael, because he's the guy calling the plays.
For sure.
So and again, you call this the jumbo package, and then you're going to send Carr back there with only 2 receivers in the pattern.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't make sense either, you
Yeah.
know. So yeah, I see. I'm just happy Graham finally came alive in the first quarter.
Yep.
And scored that in first half and scored that touchdown. So
for sure.
That's yeah.
So moving a little bit further into the second quarter, we see Ruiz go down, and it looks like that's a concussion. So
Yes.
he was out. They moved Hurst over to the right guard, Pete over to left guard, and that's the offensive line they rolled with. Again, Landon Young coming in for jumbo packages,
Yeah.
that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So
yeah. Well,
hopefully,
there's only so many people that they're carrying now. I think the only other lineman they have is Garcia.
yeah, it was Matt Garcia.
Mistaken.
That was the last one.
And he's the backup center, really, more
Right.
than anything else. So, we're thin there now. And I think Ruiz has got concussion protocol. So
yeah, concussion protocol. So we'll see how he progresses through that. Hopefully he'd be back sooner than later. But I think they're going to end up having to make a move there at offensive line to get some more bodies.
Well, we have the young kid that we drafted, and perhaps he's ready to come up, and do some, backup work. I can't imagine he's going to be a starter yet, but Saldivari, right?
Yeah.
And so perhaps because he's healthy as far as I know.
Yeah.
So perhaps they'll bring him up. I don't see them sign. I think Ruiz didn't look that. I don't know what word I want to say here. He didn't look that concussed. He didn't look like he was so wobbly, leaving the field. Yeah. I mean, you never know. I'm not a medical expert, so who knows? But,
I am on the weekend sometimes, when I'm watching football.
I see. I understand. Well, but yeah, I think that perhaps a couple of weeks and he'll be back. So I think that's the best case scenario. He misses maybe 2 games.
Yeah.
And if that's the case, then like I said, I think they've called a rookie up and they have him as a backup, and we're going to go with what we have here: Pete at left and Hurst at right.
Yep.
But again, if we're going with JW at quarterback, that could be a little rough. Because, like I said to you, and we saw this toward the end of the game as well. He has a different cadence, right? Yeah. They need to practice with him to pick up the cadence, to understand, his flow, So, yeah, that'll be interesting to see.
Yep.
So second quarter, we had that motion.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we still look good in the second quarter.
Yeah, and one of the big, one of the big highlights from the second quarter, just was Alontae Taylor himself. Like, he was looking like a weapon out there. Blitzing, breaking up passes. He was doing everything on defense, and kind of brought me to the question. He looked good on the outside, but then he looked good in the slot sometimes too. Like, what do you do with Alontae Taylor?
Well, it's a wonderful thing to be blessed with 3 cornerbacks that can play. Mm-hmm. I think that gives you more diversity of what you can do. He looked fantastic. I thought, and as the game progressed, I thought he looked better and better. One time he missed Love on one of those tackles where he had him dead to rights, and he missed him. But then the next time, he got him good. Mm-hmm. So, but he has height, he has long arm reach, he has speed, he has everything you could possibly want in a star cornerback. So it's interesting that he's the 3rd string cornerback, right?
Yeah.
And he plays that well. So, but this could be a turning point for him where he can say, hey, maybe he's a better fit in there with the rest of the team.
But in NFL, that 3rd cornerback, that's a starter. So.
Oh yeah, no doubt. But when you get to the second half, when we discuss it in the second half, we'll talk about the other people that came into play in the defensive backfield.
Yeah, for sure. Alontae Taylor, he finished with like 5 tackles, 2 tackles for loss, and 1 sack. So
Excellent stats.
He was kind of reminding me of CJ a little bit there.
I can see that. I can see. However, I would tell you, I think he covers better than CJ.
Yeah.
You know? I think that. Sure. I mean, he had some great cover breakups. You know, he played. I believe he played an outstanding game. He would be the player of the game for me.
Mm-hmm.
And especially because of the second half, Love really tried to pick on him and he just couldn't break through. You know.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I thought he had a great game.
And of course, we can't forget about that big punt return from Rashid Shaheed. That put us up 14-0. When you get a punt return for a touchdown, that's a big play that usually swings the game in your favor.
Yeah. Well, I think that when it happened, I think the momentum was incredibly strong behind the Saints.
Super strong.
And what I texted to you guys, you know, speed kills.
Yes.
Man, when he made that cut, and there was still 5 Packers in front of him, and he just zipped right through them.
Mm-hmm.
You know, my wife and I sitting there watching the game, and I'm like, whoa. And she's like, dang, that's fast. Like, that guy has speed. You know, So, yes, that was a fantastic return. And like you said, Dale, I mean, the momentum, we already had some, but I think that particular play really put us over the top. Because I tell you, we're 17-0. Green Bay looks like they're done. I mean, they looked, cooked at that point,
Yep.
So, yeah, that was a tremendous and something we've been looking for, right? We've been looking for somebody back there who can do that kind of, put the fear of that into the other team, So
yeah. So right before the half, before we kicked that field goal to go up 17-0, Olave dropped a touchdown right there in the corner there. It just kind of went through his hand.
But he was out of bounds anyway. Wouldn't have made any difference. If he would have caught the ball, his feet were out of bounds.
Okay.
So that wouldn't have counted as a touchdown anyway. Okay. But certainly, he had so many other great catches that he made. I mean, come on.
Yeah, he did.
But that particular one, I think that he drifted, right? Because they showed the replay where he's supposed to go down and turn and hook in right into that corner. But it looks like he, drifted a little bit. And by the time the ball got there, he was down on his knees. He was out of bounds. So,
okay.
But it's still a good call, Something they could have come back to, I think, in the second half. Had Carr still been in there.
And now we start the second half, and the first possession, we got Lonnie Johnson with the INT, and I'm feeling really good about this. I mean, defense still holding strong.
Yep. And did you notice in the second half, even at the very beginning of the second half, we started really rotating defensive backfield, right?
Yeah.
We're bringing in a lot of people into the defensive backfield because, like you said, you had Lonnie was in there. Then you had, I can't tell you how many. There were like 4 different defensive backs that rotated in all of a sudden.
Right.
And I was like, well, that's interesting that they would think to do that. Mm-hmm. But that was a great play. And again, more momentum for the Saints. More like, hey, we come out in the second half. We're still here. We're still going to push the ball. We're going to score again, Yeah. So, yeah, I thought it was a good play. Didn't you think that was a good play?
Oh, for sure. Absolutely. I love it, man. And I honestly expected to see Lonnie Johnson starting, but, they went another direction. But, it's still good to see him out there playing. And we definitely need his veteran presence and stuff. So yeah. Let's see what we got next. Carr takes a big hit after holding the ball too long. He went to the locker room. That's when we had the shoulder injury. I just thought he held it way too long there. The line blocked pretty well on that particular play, and he just could have got rid of it earlier.
What was the name of the defensive player for Green Bay? Greeley? Can't remember his
Gary.
name.
Gary, I think.
Gary, is that what it was?
Rashawn Gary, yeah.
Yeah. Hey, let's face facts here now. That guy is a stud player.
Yeah.
And he was really that in today's game, I would say that was the defensive guy for Green Bay. The one player that really stood out to me was him. And I would disagree with you. It's just the nature of how Carr plays that he stands back there. He's willing to wait to the last moment to find somebody open, but that was a pretty tough hit. But hey, it's the game of football. I'm not going to sit here and cry about it.
Yeah.
The guy for Green Bay, he did pretty good. Now that was on the right side of our offensive line.
Mm-hmm.
So that's Ramchek's side.
Yeah.
But as I recall, I think, didn't we have the jumbo package even on that? Wasn't Young in there too on that play? Or
possibly,
am I mistaken?
I can't remember that personnel. I just from my vantage point, like he just held that thing way too long, and that's why he took that hit.
Well, I just think that's the nature of his game. I like that he will stay there 1, 2. Neither one of those guys are open. Okay, I'm looking now to go down to one of my backs coming out of the tight end.
Right.
Which, like I said to you, see, this is completely different than Jameis's game.
Mm-hmm.
Jameis is like, 1's not open, 2's not open. Let me go back to number 1 again. Jameis almost never. If you remember, right, we talked about how Kamara's numbers last year weren't that good because
he never throws to the back.
He never dumps the ball down, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's just again the difference in philosophy where Carr is willing to stand back there. And if we had a little bit, it's always right, Dale. It's always just a question of seconds, right? A tenth of a second, a half a second.
Oh yeah,
right.
Yeah, it's always close.
Yeah. So he goes down, and suddenly the whole, like I said to you, that's the word I like to use, right? The whole vibe of the thing changes, right?
Yep. Momentum definitely swings in because the next possession we get, Jameis Winston, we go 3 and out.
3 and out.
So that's what we have. And so got our first little comment from Facebook saying, I think Jameis did okay. I don't know what happened. So what do you think about that?
Well, like I said, I'll stick to what I said. I think that it's a different philosophy of offense when you have Jameis in as opposed to when you have Carr in, right?
Yeah.
And I think that became very obvious as we 1, 2, 3 and you're out.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, what were those three plays? Did Tony Jones touch the ball? No. Did Military? No. So it's a completely different philosophy of what you're doing, right? And I think that was apparent at that point. And the other thing I would say to you, and I said this to someone else, when we had Drew Brees as quarterback, everybody was like, hey, don't worry. It doesn't matter. They scored, so what? We have Drew. Yeah. We'll still get there. Well, And I don't think that's the vibe when we have Jameis. When we have Jameis, I think the vibe is, oh, man, what are we going to do now? Okay, come on. Can you do something for us? Can you? See, that's what I mean about the vibe. What I mean about it seems Carr more calm, Jameis more chaotic.
Well, it's kind of hard. I mean, I'm just thinking about even going back to the Jets when Rodgers went down. Like the air came out of that whole stadium. It's hard to keep that strong belief when your guy goes down.
Sure. Yeah, but we weren't at home now, Dale. We're on the road.
I agree.
Right. Yeah. So it's not quite the same thing. And and look, I'm not here to say bad things about Jameis. It's hard for a backup quarterback to come in and play in a game everything's been set up for the other quarterback, right? The entire idea of the plays that we're going to call, what we've decided we're going to play to take advantage of what Green Bay does or doesn't do, right? It's a completely different thing for a backup quarterback come in and say, okay, I can execute your game plan when that's not my game, right? See, and I think this is the problem. I really think that somebody wrote that nobody wanted the offensive coordinator's job, which is why Carmichael's still there. No, okay. I think that's not it. I think it's just whatever it is, Carmichael and Jameis don't seem to hook up and get on the same page as to these are the things Jameis can do and these are the things that Jameis can't do. Yeah. So and I think part of it is also just how a veteran quarterback, right? What happened when we got Jameis, right? He was sort of a reclamation project, right?
Yeah.
So, but Carr wasn't, and Drew wasn't really, and Drew over time, because I mean, come on, Drew wasn't the Hall of Famer when he came to the Saints with the busted up shoulder, right? But he became that over time. But Carr's a veteran, and Carr's taking the team to playoffs. So I think there's a different level there. When Jameis came in, and everybody's like, well, he's going to have to learn from Drew. Maybe he can become a better quarterback, pick up some things, and right. I think there's a difference in how he's viewed, perhaps, by Carmichael. Just my opinion, for what it's worth.
Yeah. Yeah, I got you. So we get to the fourth quarter. Oh, by the way, we did see Foskey show up with a nice tackle for loss.
Yes, yeah.
Good job, Foskey.
Yeah. Two, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So in the fourth quarter, we see Jordan Love gain a ton of confidence. Yeah. And they start going at Isaac Yiadom. And they're going after him over and over and over again.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, we got 18 unanswered points, pretty much.
Well, that's why I said. Yeah, well, that's why I said to you earlier when we were talking that isn't it interesting that the Saints came out in the second half and started rotating people in the backfield?
Yeah.
And suddenly we have people that you're like, wait a second, why is he in there? Mm-hmm. What are we missing somebody? And it's like, no, they just decided to play a different defensive philosophy. It's like, really? So I don't really know what was, and that's Dennis Allen's issue, right? Because he's still head coach and sort of the defensive guru here, right?
Yeah.
So playing these other people, I was like, that's kind of interesting, because I start seeing numbers and I'm like, wait, he's not a starter. Wait, he's not a starter. Yeah. So it's kind of, and so as soon as, and I don't think it's Love. I would say it's one of the coaches, probably up in the press box area, up in the top of the stadium, looking down, saying, "Hey, we got this guy in here. Let's pick on him, right? Forget about Taylor. We're not going to beat him. So let's pick on this guy instead." And I thought he played okay. It wasn't like he was, but how many PIs did he get called on? I think 2 or 3, right?
You talking about Yiadom?
Yeah.
I believe so. I believe it was 2 on that. But, man, the Saints as a whole, so many penalties.
Oh, yeah. And again, I hate to say that, the refs hate us because Peyton isn't here anymore, But I have to say, this is one of those points that gets to you. I haven't looked at the totals. I need to sit down and look at the totals.
So the totals, the penalty totals, we had 7 for 102. They had 11 for 90.
Okay.
So their time of possession was 32 minutes. Ours was 27 minutes.
Yeah.
And just looking at sacks, we gave up 4. They gave up 1. They threw 1 interception. So
yeah, because it seemed to me that they were getting little cheap penalties, right? Illegal formation, offsides, illegal motion, whereas ours were like, well, pass interference, 40 yards, pass interference, 30 yards, holding 15 yards. It's like, wait,
Yeah, it sustained a lot of drives that way.
Yes, right. Yeah, exactly. Crucial moments in their drives were suddenly, first down, So, and look, like I said before, it's the game of football. We have to play cleaner in order to be able to win. That's the bottom line,
Yeah.
But I don't know if you agree with me or not, but man, in that second half, there sure seemed to be a lot of offensive holding on their part that didn't get called. Because especially in the center of our line,
right?
And they did a good job of pushing Granderson and Cam out, but the center of that line, I'm seeing Brzee on the ground, I'm seeing Shepard on the ground. I'm like, wait, how are these guys on the ground? So,
well, one of my problems also is 2 weeks in a row we've seen the quarterback run for extended yards because we thought he was going out of bounds or we thought he was going down, and we let him run some more.
That was a terrible play. If there was one play that I would say, dude, you need to wake up.
Mhm.
That was that one play when he ran to the side, and they all were like, well, surely he's going to go out of bounds.
Yeah.
No, You know, you don't have to hit him because you don't want the penalty, but you push his happy butt out of bounds,
Right.
and make sure, okay, that's it. That's as far as you're going to go.
Mhm.
But that was that's just unacceptable. I don't know if I would have been a coach on the sideline, man, I'd be jumping up and down, pointing my finger and saying words that I can't repeat on the air.
Yep.
You know? So that to me, I think Dale, you picked it out. I think that was one of the worst things. And did you notice again? See the change in the defense in the first half. It seemed to me that DeMario was ghosting Love.
Okay.
The whole time, Love would roll out and DeMario would go with him. I mean, it was like, he was, set up with Love. In the second half, I didn't see that.
Right.
Like on that long run.
That long run, there was nobody there. So
No,
yeah, you're right.
No,
Mhm.
they had the young kid, 31, the rookie safety.
Howden, I mean. Yeah.
Yes, yeah. And I didn't see any linebacker. Like, where's Werner? Where's DeMario? So I thought DeMario in the first half seemed to be shadowing Love wherever he was going, and I didn't quite see that in the second half.
Yeah.
So, but that was a terrible play.
And of course, to end the game for us, we missed the field goal. Ride wide. My goodness, that is hard to say. But yeah, as his first miss of the year. So this is a loss, and I mostly blame it on the offense because look, they scored 18 points. We should be able to score 20 points every week. We should be able to score 20. So
well, several things there. One, I've given Groupie the nickname of the Louisiana Shrimp.
Okay.
Because he's like a shrimp with the rest of these players out there.
Yeah, he's small.
and I tell you, if you could have been in my house, my wife let it rip when he missed. She was like, all you got to do is make a field goal. And I was like, wow, But I tried to remind her, and I would remind the fans as well. He beat out Lutz easily. And Lutz went to Denver, missed an extra point, missed the field goal. They lost the game there. So
I'm not gonna be too upset with the kid.
He's a rookie.
Yeah.
Okay.
And at least he missed a field goal outside instead of inside. Missing inside is inexcusable to me.
Yes, I agree. I agree with you. And wait, and we haven't talked about this, but Dale, the field in
the grass. Bay, yes, you're right.
Oh my God.
You're right. Everybody was slipping and sliding.
It was lucky for us in the first half that Love had the play was a great play.
Mm-hmm.
But the execution of the play was horrible when they threw the ball back to him. Right. But then, he splits when he goes to throw the ball.
Yep.
And several times we had the same thing happen to us. Mm-hmm. Several times Tony Jones was slipping on the grass.
Off his foot,
So I was like, man, this field is horrible.
Yep.
But now, no excuses. I didn't see Groupie slip. I didn't see it was a bad snap. I mean, everything looked good. He just pushed that bad boy to the right. It didn't hook back in. So, that's shame on him because that's all he's paid for, as my wife said, make the damn kick.
This is all you do all week. You don't game plan, you kick.
Exactly. I'm sure he probably doesn't feel too good about the whole thing.
Yeah.
But going back to what you said, and I said this earlier, there's no excuse. This offense should have won by 14 to 20 points in this game. They should have scored 31 points, 27 to 31 points. I would have said, yes, that's what I expected from our offense. But we didn't see that. And when you only score 17, you're asking a lot of your defense. And God bless them. 18 points, you should win the game.
Yeah.
I don't care how much they came back. With 18 points, and again, I don't know exactly what the record is, but aren't we currently, our defense currently holding a record of so many NFL games at under 20?
Yeah, right.
I mean, you can't really ask more of our defense. I think our defensive line, what a big improvement from last year. Warner and Davis graded at the linebacker positions. So I have no problem with our defense. Offensive line, I think, is our Achilles heel. I think that's our problem,
Yes.
going forward.
100%.
Doesn't matter who's at quarterback. That's our problem.
I
Now,
agree 100%.
We get Kamara back next week.
Yes.
If we don't have Carr, then we definitely need Kamara in the game.
God,
But
I hope he can block.
well, no, but no. I actually see Alvin. I think I would like them to extend his career.
Yeah.
By saying, Alvin, you aren't going to be there on first down. You're not hammering the ball into the middle of the line. Mm-hmm. That's why we have Miller. And they put
Tony Jones.
No, with the fellow on IR. Well, I'm having an Alzheimer's day today. It's like juvenile Alzheimer's. Williams.
Jamal Williams.
Yeah, we put him on IR.
Right.
So he's gone for a while.
Yeah.
So we're depending on Tony Jones, which I like the way he plays.
Hey, I have to give him his props. He's been looking good these past few games. So.
And Miller, I thought he had a good game today.
Yeah,
first game in the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
I think he had a good game. So I think we have running backs that can put it together for first and second down, and let's extend Alvin's career. Third downs and in certain plays that we have him play the slot or whatever it happens to be, but we'll need him. And
let's wrap this up with a player of the game for the Saints. Even though we lost, like who was the player of the game in your opinion?
Well, I have it down to 2, but I'm going to go with Taylor on defense.
Okay.
I really think that he played an outstanding game for what he was called to do. And he's I'm sorry, but he's not a slot cover guy. Okay. He may be able to learn that position, but he's an outside cornerback.
So who will you put in the slot then?
Well, that's why they were rotating people in the second half. That's exactly the problem that we have. Okay. Right? Who are you going to put?
We're still figuring it out.
Yes. Now, I think Johnson might be a good. He's got so much experience. He's a good player. Mm-hmm. Maybe. I just don't know that he has the quickness to play the slot. The slot's a tough place to play.
Yeah, usually one like a young twitchy guy there.
Yep.
We have seen Tyrann Mathieu do it some, but we're missing Marcus May. I think we need him at safety. Period. So, I will agree with you as far as the player of the game because that's what I had listed as well. Because like I said earlier, he was looking like Chauncey's like a weapon. You can just deploy him, and the offense got to circle him and figure out where he is. And I think we need that kind of player on defense to keep us in these games, to keep these scores low so that the offense can actually produce some points and get us to some wins. So hopefully that will happen next week. We need some offensive production, please.
Yes. Well, and we've got the Yuccaneers coming into town. So, we have a chance to see Baker.
Yes.
And perhaps our defense can shut them down as well, keep it under 20.
And division game, very important. We got to win this division. We got to win it. So
yes, I agree. I agree. There really is no excuse. I mean, I just don't. Our defense is better than all the other defenses in our division.
Yep.
And now it's just a question: can hopefully the Carr injury is not too bad, and can we pull out a few wins with Jameis in there as quarterback till Carr comes back?
Yeah.
But I hate to say this, but I don't see us scoring a lot if Jameis is in there for 8 games. If he's in there for 8 games, I think we're in trouble. So
well, yeah, I would agree. If you have to have your backup quarterback for 8 games, you're definitely in trouble. But let's just see. Let's see what's going to happen with this injury report. Hopefully, it's not Drew Brees' shoulder injury for Carr. And
it didn't look like it. Yeah, because I told my wife, I said, because she was worried. She said, "Oh my gosh, Tomas, I think he's out for the year." I said, "No, because they weren't holding his arm up as they left the field, right?
Yeah,
he was just walking off the field."
Exactly.
And I said, it might just be a bad bruise of his shoulder. Let's hope that that's what it is.
Hope so.
Nothing torn up to be something bad. But
Okay. Well, Tomas, thank you for joining us here on the Beer Chaser. I couldn't have done it without you.
Well, Dale, thank you for inviting me. It's been a long time, and I really appreciate it. I love being on with you, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And everybody out there, it's going to be brighter days ahead. The Saints will come up with a dub next week. I guarantee it. Buccaneers going down.
Yes.
So with that being said, join us next week on the Beer Chaser and look out for the beer run coming soon.
All right. Thanks, Dale.
Later.
Remember to follow us on social media at BS and Beer Media. Also, smash the like button on YouTube and share with friends.